This is Bill Brady doing another recording for the Kingship course. This particular recording is part of the headship category and fathering category. And the specific topic about that this recording is about is everlasting Father. Now, I recently did a search in Bible Gateway, which I recommend Bible Gateway. I searched for the term everlasting covenant. Put everlasting space covenant in, put quotation marks around both ends of the phrase, and then the Bible Gateway will search for that entire phrase, not just for everlasting or covenant or verses that happen to have the word everlasting in it somewhere and covenant in it somewhere. It'll look for verses that have the phrase everlasting covenant in it. And here are the people who had or have an everlasting covenant with God. First off, there's Noah. Then there's Abraham. Then there's David. And then there's Yeshua. All four of these men have everlasting covenants with God. I say have because all four of them are still alive, even though they've died mortal death, they're still alive, right? And an everlasting covenant is with you and all your generations that come after you, the believing generations. So each of these four, and for Yeshua, it's the new everlasting covenant or the new covenant, which is an everlasting covenant. So those four have everlasting covenants. And I bring this up because I believe it's in Isaiah, wonderful counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. 5 names that have been given to Yeshua. Now, you need to understand that Prince of Peace is a term that's higher than King of Peace. King of Peace, Prince of Peace. Wonderful. That means having been given names that are mysteries, new names. Wonderful Counselor. Yeshua said that he was sending the Holy Spirit as another counselor, which means Yeshua was a counselor while he was with us on the earth. And Holy Spirit is another counselor. Wonderful Counselor, mighty God. God is a judge term, but it can also be a godship term. Mean like God himself and Yeshua as the both. Yeshua was God upon the earth, or is God both as the Lamb, and as the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That is a higher use of the term Elohim, which is the Hebrew word that's being translated as God. The lower term simply means God, judges. The higher term is a different level of God. So wonderful counselor, mighty God, which is a judge term in this particular, mighty judge, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. One who has an everlasting covenant with God is also an everlasting Father, because they train up their children to become sons. Children are prepared, it's different levels of training, initial training, and then training to do what the Father's been doing is the sons, and what the name son means. So the highest level of fathering, apart from God the Father, who is Father at that level of being God, not just as a judge, but God as God, highest level fathering is everlasting Father. And a person who has been given an everlasting covenant is an everlasting father, and their everlasting covenant applies to all of their progeny, all their descendants who believe. So with respect to Abraham, he is the father of all who believe, right? He's an everlasting father. He was given an everlasting covenant, and the covenant that was given to everlasting covenant that was given to Abraham applies to everyone who believes. You follow me? So that's what an everlasting father is. And you are a child of Noah and his everlasting covenant. And you are a child or son of Noah, depending on what level of training you've been trained to. You are a child and son of Abraham, depending on what level of training you've been trained to. And you are a child and son of David, have mercy on me, right? Um, a son of David. Yeshua was a son of David, but so can you're a son of David too. Uh, and you're a son of Jesus of Nazareth if you've been trained to that level, because he is an everlasting father and still functioning as an everlasting father. There are people today walking the earth who have been given an everlasting covenant. It is possible for you to be given an everlasting covenant if you qualify for it. Now I'm going to talk about how. No, I'll leave that for another teaching. I'll just leave that seed in you that it is possible for you to come to the place of being an everlasting father. Now, there are other kinds of fathers. I'm not talking spiritual and natural. I'm talking about other kinds of spiritual fathers. And I'll talk about them in future recordings. So I wanted you to understand what an everlasting father is, who is an everlasting father, that you are a child and can be a son of several everlasting fathers. By the way, I'm not saying that Jesus and Noah and uh, Abraham and David are all on an equal plane. Jesus has other names that he's functioning in that those gentlemen didn't function in. And Jesus also has Godship as the Lamb and as the Word. So he's certainly on a much higher level than those other three guys. But he's also has common ground with them in that all four of them are everlasting fathers. It's just that Jesus has gone much further from that and actually started off in a place of being God as the Word and as the Lamb, and then had his Godship as the Word and as the Lamb restored to him as he did his journey. But I just needed you to understand that everlasting Father is not a term that applies only to Jesus, because it also applies to Noah, Abraham, and David. And again, anyone who has been given an everlasting covenant becomes an everlasting father once they become a father. Every one of those men had gone through a journey, and every one of them, I'll say this, no, I'm going to have to wait to do that till later time. I'm sorry. Heading towards some further revelation and teaching. I'm not being given permission to teach it right now. Okay, so we'll leave that as it is right now. Sorry to tease you. I'll just say that instead of teasing you, I'm actually sowing a seed for you to receive and then at a later point enter into.